Hello everyone, my name is Blackwatch and welcome to another episode of How to Play, and in this episode it's going to be the first time that we've gone back and done a redux of a previous video, and it's one that's very needed, and it's the one about Ela. So back when I did the video on Ela, she'd been nerfed to oblivion and the shotgun was the only viable option. Recently, she's been buffed again, and Jesus Christ, we need to talk about this. So Ela, you all know what she is. She's a 3-speed. If you guys want to see the profile that I did in the original video, the video is still up because the start of the video is still relevant. So if you want to find out all the sort of basic breakdowns that I normally do at the start of a How to Play, please feel free to go to that video. I'll leave the link in the description. It's all going to be there. But in terms of practical information that you need to know now about how good she is and what you can do to improve your play, all of the relevant stuff is going to be in this video. This is the up-to-date guide as of February 2020. So, Ela is a bit of an interesting case now, because that SMG, the Scorpion, was obviously fantastic on release, too fantastic, then it got nerfed, and now it's back, not quite to its glory days, but it's good enough that essentially if you've got that ability to kill fast and to lay your shots on quickly and accurately at the start, then it's pretty much exactly the same as it used to be, which is crazy. Ela is a very scary operator to go against now. The shotgun already made her quite scary, but this SMG has made her even scarier. So the first thing I would say is you're free to pick whichever weapon you wish, but you should pick the Scorpion now. The shotgun's been nerfed. It was a very problematic weapon because it was strong and kind of needed to be strong because it was her only option. But now, I think they preempted the fact that they were going to change her SMG recoil by toning back the shotgun so much because they knew that it was frustrating for people to play against. Unfortunately, the SMG is also frustrating for people to play against because it has that element of random recoil that you get from guns that are so fast, like this one. But that works in your favour just as much as it will work against you. If you can tap fire with her, then that's fantastic, but really you should be looking to have close range to mid-range engagements where you can dictate the flow of the fight and you can take advantage of that high rate of fire. I mean, crazy rate of fire with pretty reasonable controllability, and you just want to take them out with pure volume of fire. That's your advantage, and you'll snag those headshots. You'll see in these clips that a number of times I've got a kill because the recoil or the rate of fire has driven my shots to the opponent's head. Because if you actually think about the DPS, it is nice, but when you're being wayward and not hitting headshots, it's not quite as nice. But if you're up close and you're going to be landing your shots, they've got no chance. I mean, they will be dead faster than they can react. And that's a good thing for you, as long as you're not playing against her. But all the principles that I had in the previous video still apply to her now, but in a slightly different way. So you want to be using her Gouvernement mines for ambushes, and you want to be using them for covering your own flanks. Now, I'm not telling you that she's got an air jab in her pocket, because she doesn't, but you can use it like an air jab in that if you're roaming through a building and you are the roamer taking advantage of that range advantage you now have, obviously not range advantage, but range equalizer, we'll call it, in the form of the SMG, you can basically cover your tracks so that if someone is going to sneak up to you in a path that you've already been on, you can put one in the main choke point that they're going to have to cross through. And these mines are so small and insignificant that people probably aren't going to notice them, but you will hear it going off. And if you're close enough, you can take advantage of it. But you don't entirely need to set them up for ambushes because now you have a competitive weapon that has some range. And so she's become a bit more versatile as an operator. Primarily, you want to use her as a roamer. You don't want to semi-roam as much as you used to have to put semi-roam with her, but she's still perfectly capable of doing that, of staying close to sight and playing that sight objective role. In a lot of ways, it's actually a beneficial style for her because it gives those engagements the kind of range that she wants to be taking on. But as a roamer, she is so difficult to deal with because you basically, if you get into a firefight with her, because of the nature of her weapon and the amount of ammunition it still has, you can't really be sure if you're going to get out alive or not, because even if she's not the first person to fire, she's putting so many bullets down range, there is such a high chance that one of them is going to clip you in the head. And that is a scary thing to deal with. And that's one of the reasons why she's so frightening and why so many people feel intimidated by her. Couple that with the fact that the Guzmot mines are still ridiculous and are still, I believe, the main reason why she is so strong. You've just got this little Polish package of death who needs to be used. In terms of the roaming meta, I think if you're not running Ela as your primary roamer, you're not making the right decisions as a team. You need to have an Ela on board at this point. Her gadget is very strong. It does all the things that some of these intel gadgets do, like Legion's gadget, but it offers all the other things that she brings with her. She's got the speed. She's got the ridiculous weapon. She's got the relatively small hitbox. And all these things add up to make a fantastic package. Jaeger's just been nerfed a bit. He's still perfectly reasonable. We're going to be getting a redux of him in the future. But when you've got Womai in the game, who has such a hard-hitting assault rifle and has the extra utility with those impact grenades, or actually, does he have impact grenades? No, he doesn't. Ignore me on that one. But the other stuff in his kit is very good. He's got a good revolver. He's got a good gadget that can be used in creative ways and can counter things that Jaeger's ADS just can't. And now that he has had his ADS times normalised, as they should have been, and brought back to assault rifle standards, you've now got someone who has a more reactionary weapon that deals less damage per shot, but more damage in a moment. It's a weird trade-off. I think in terms of the pure team benefit of the gadget, the ADS is still at the top between the two of them. But the fact is, you can have someone else doing that role with an operator who's perfectly reasonable to take. A Womai is a good operator to pick. You know, you can say what you want about the fact that you can't use his gadgets instantly, but there's a reason why Legion is in the meta right at the top, and he has his gadgets on that same kind of feed you through the round type style. So there's no reason why you shouldn't take him as a replacement for Jaeger, especially when Ela is so strong. The thing is, guys, when you've got operators like this who have become such monsters out of nowhere, this wasn't a buff that people expected. You really got to take advantage of it whilst it's there. She is very good to play as. She's not very fun to play against because of that weapon. But if you have a teammate who can run that properly and who can take advantage of the Guzmots and of how strong that effect is, and can capitalise on people being hit by it with ambushes or with just people who are listening out for those going off, at the end of the round, if you're having to push into a site and the Ela player has decided to put Guzmots at the top of the doorway you're walking into, the chances of you surviving are very, very slim, because you cannot hear anything the moment that mine detonates. And unless you're playing with an adrenal surge on the newly buffed Finka, who will also be receiving a video in the time to come, or you're playing as Zofia, who has a natural immunity to the stun, or not so much an immunity, but a reduced effect because of the fact that they're sisters for whatever reason, it means that you're still going to be getting affected by it for quite a long time. And not being able to hear in a game where sound is one of the key aspects of the intel play, that's not easy at all. That's really not easy to deal with. And you can't see things as well, and all these different things. Ela's very good. You should play her. You won't enjoy her to begin with if you're not a player who is bang on with your aim all the time, and I'm not trying to say that I can quick draw McGraw people out of nowhere all the time. I certainly can't. I do my very best, and you know, sometimes you just have those moments where your shots are off. But again, you have that sort of leeway that can also be a disadvantage in the fact that you have so much fire going down the range at once. You might end up just missing all of it, but if you don't miss all of it, all it's going to take is that one key shot that flies off and hits them in the head, and then you're sitting there being very thankful for the fact that after 16 rounds, that gun becomes a bit of a wild hose. So yeah, to sum her up, use your ambushes, take advantage of the power of that gadget, of the Guzmot mine, use it to cover your flanks, use it to set up ambushes if you're wanting to play that kind of style, and basically turning an area of the map into a kill zone by placing mines around the area and then capitalizing on the stun. Obviously they're slowed when it happens as well, which makes it more difficult for them to deal with. The other thing that you can do with the mines is to set them up almost like air jabs, so that you're covered in your back and you have a way to roam with certainty that the areas that you have explored are still not being explored, because you've managed to lock them off with a mine that will give you that intelligence. Or at the very least, you'll hear a gunshot when it gets destroyed, so that's something. But yeah, she's good. She's very good. I'm glad she's been changed, because I felt like for a long time the roamer meta was kind of stale. You just had your Jaegers, you had your Vigils, you occasionally had an Alibi, and you had your Bandit, but a lot of the time the Bandit was picked because he was getting used on site. And outside of that, the roamers, it was just kind of dull. There wasn't really many. And you found that there was quite a lot of people who were playing Valkyrie and roaming, or playing Mozzie and roaming, and these two speeds, who obviously is good to use them as roamers in some situations, but they're still a little bit louder, and noise is key. And someone with a good headset, if they are listening out and you're sneaking up on them, it can be enough to give away your position. So take advantage of Ela whilst you can. She's a very strong operator. She's not the easiest to get used to, but it's just practice with that Scorpion. Get in there, use the vertical grip, not the angled grip. Please don't use the angled grip. And I would use the compensator so that you've got that extra tightness from left to right, because vertical recoil is pretty easy to deal with, whereas horizontal recoil is much more difficult to account for because it's so unpredictable. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the guide. If you feel like there's anything missing, please let me know and I can address it in the future. But there's more than likely there's other stuff in the other guide that will cover things that I've missed, but I just didn't want to retread the same things too much in this video and end up feeding you information that you would have already heard from the other guide. But anyway, have fun, play the poll, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video eventually. Hopefully not too long. This video on you, everybody. Thanks for checking it out. Bye bye.